Hello, I'm Julie Fei-Fan Balzer. Look behind the walls and below the surface to make new art. I'm here with Cheryl Boglioli, and Cheryl is going to teach us how to make these really cool sculptures. Hey, Cheryl.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and I'm super excited about these beautiful things. And you said this is quick, this is easy, and that we all can do it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So how do we get started?
Well, the first thing that you're going to do is we have to create an armature. And the armature is what everything is going to be built on.
So an armature is a fancy word for like?
A skeleton.
Yes.
Yes. And we're going to do it with things that we have around the house, probably already. And so I start off with some electrical wire. So I've just cut a few pieces of electrical wire and then looped them together to create like the little head, the arms, and then I'm holding it together with some masking tape. Once we have our basic skeleton made, then I can worry about building up the body shape. And I'm not worrying about posing at this point by any means, because I can do this as I start building it. So once that's done, then we start building it with creating the musculature. And I'm using aluminum foil and masking tape. Again, things that we already have in our house, right? So the thing about using this and creating the musculature is you want to make sure that it's very firm. So feel of this. You can feel that it's tight.
That's hard as a rock.
Right. So when you're building it, you don't want to make it too loose, because once you start putting things with it, well, then it flattens out and it's squishy and it won't have any structure. But yet you don't want to make it so tight that you can't manipulate it either. So you have to find a happy medium. So when I start building the musculature at that point, I'm just going to take some pieces of aluminum foil and I'm going to start a fold, and we don't want to wrap it, because then you're just creating a wrap and that's not going to give it the musculature in the body. So I'm going to start to bring it around it, and then I'm just going to do this very hard technique called squish.
Yeah, that's my kind of technique.
Right? I knew you would love that. And so you're just going to build it on and make sure that you create this really firm and taut so that you can build your base upon it. And remember that you want this to be sturdy so that when you do start to pose it, it can sit, it can stand, and it can hold up the muscles that it needs to be
So this is the point that if you wanted to have like a wide chest or big hips or large thighs, that you would just start adding layers.
Exactly. And you need to keep building up. And think about anatomy when you're doing this. So you want to think that our thighs are usually a little bit bigger than our calves.
I was going to say, can I sneak in a little layer here to make sure I get this?
Yes.
So we're just going to fold it, right?
Yep.
And fold it again. Now, if I want to give a really fat thigh to this figure, I'm going to take your squishing technique, right? Squish, 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 squish.
Right,
squish,
yes,
squish.
exactly. So you didn't wrap it, perfect.
And now I can see that this is bulked out a little bit more, and I could just keep adding. You're right, I could add now down here to get a calf. I could make the thigh even larger.
Yep.
Give her some hips.
Yes, and the hips and the breasts are very easy to do. Just create like a little ball. Your buttock is not just a solid round sphere, it's more like an almond shape. So you're gonna create that. And I would do two, obviously. And then you're going to kind of place them on. And so we'll just kind of lay our little figurine here.
And of course, because it's all wire, it's flexible, you just kind of squish it.
Yep. So if we had, a couple of these going at a time, then you can take another piece of aluminum foil and use the foil to wrap to hold that in place.
I see.
So I'm using the aluminum foil as my adhesive at the same time. So now she's got like one little
I see it. She's there. She's almost ready. She's part way.
So you continue to build it up, and then you take the masking tape, and once you have your pieces done, you're just going to take the masking tape and you're going to mummify everything and kind of go at an angle and pull taut and give it a basic skin. Wrap the whole thing so that then we can get to the really fun part. And that's when we're going to come in and we're going to use a fabric. And I use either muslin or I use t-shirt. T-shirt's great. You can use all those old t-shirts that your kids are throwing away, your husband's throwing away, and rip them up and make tarn out of them. And the great thing about it is when you're making tarn and you cut strips.
And I love that you're calling it tarn, which is t-shirt yarn.
Exactly. And so when we give it a little pull, it's going, you see how it curls up? So then here's a ball of tarn that I made, and then I'm just going to cut it into strips. Now we have some of our textile
Delicious looking
hardener.
soup.
Doesn't it look good? You just want to lick it. It looks like chocolate. So we have our textile hardener already poured. And I have some gloves here. So if you want to play with this, you might want to put your gloves on really quick. Now it's non-toxic, it's environmentally friendly, but it does dry really quick actually. And so the gloves just help protect our hands and keep it from getting too tacky.
I always think that it's just nice that you don't end up, you know, when you eat your hamburger later, covered in paint.
That's true. That's true. You don't want to eat it. So when you're dipping this in, you don't want it dripping wet. So one thing that I've done is I've learned that if I just put part of it in and then I use what's already there to moisten the rest, then I can make sure that I get a good coverage. And so once you have this complete, then you're going to start wrapping your figurine with your tarn or
Do you
your
want to be
material.
pulling that taut? Because I know
Taut.
it's t-shirt, so
Yes.
it's going to stretch even more.
Right, and a lot of times I'll actually kind of open it up, kind of take my thumb and come in here and open it up a little bit flatter.
So open the roll up.
Just a little bit,
Okay.
yep. Because if not, you'll get a real lumpy mummy if you don't, and if you
Okay.
over ribbon it. So
Okay.
you'll do that. So once you have it all wrapped up, we're going to end up. Here's the one that I've already done. I've already wrapped. It's got its body built in. So this one's ready to be dressed and draped.
How did you attach it to the block?
So I just have a block and I cut these. I drilled a little hole and hammered in like a rod that you can get from a hardware store and just cut it with really heavy duty pliers. And then one of the legs, I attached one of the legs with a little aluminum foil and masking tape to make sure that it's solid.
Cool.
Yep. Then we're gonna drape this. So we could just create a quick little shirt just by taking
That's just
some
more t-shirt material.
It is.
You're dipping it
I
in
cut
your
it in a rectangle.
textile medium or textile hardener.
Yes.
And by the way, textile hardener, this should make sense to everybody, right? What it's gonna do is once it dries, it's gonna be really
Yes, you
hard on
felt
that
these.
textile.
So now to make the shirt, I'm just going to open this up.
Now, of course, you're using brown, but you could use any color
I could
that
use
you
any color.
wanted.
I love the brown just because it'll look bronze when I'm done. So, and because it is all one color, once I start draping, so if I just create this little
Oh my gosh,
draping
it really,
here.
I was sort of like, Cheryl, I don't know how this is gonna look like a shirt.
No, and you just kind of tuck and pull, and I create a little
Wow.
blousey look there.
It completely and totally looks like a shirt. That's absolutely amazing. So I know that we're gonna add some hair quickly.
Yes.
To give her a little bit of something so
Right,
she's not
right.
bald.
So we've got some yarn, and I have this very exclusive technique here. So
I like all
that
your
little,
difficult
yes,
techniques.
I'm easy, right? All that yarn that you don't know what to do with and you don't want to untangle it, this is what I keep it for. So I just take a little bit of yarn and cut it wherever I
Feel like it.
That's it. I don't have to worry about straightening it up. Now the yarn is much more porous, so it'll take
So
a
you're gonna
little
have
bit
to
more.
use a little bit more
A little bit
medium.
more. But don't worry about
Okay.
this either, because the more, if whatever I don't use, I can pour back in the bottle.
Okay,
So I don't
and
have
then
to
you're
worry about it.
basically gonna use your squishing
Smush
technique.
and push.
Stick it on the head.
So I smush and push,
And she's got
And
hair.
and she has hair.
And if we look at some of the finished pieces, we can see that you've added a little bit of color, some dry brushing,
Yes.
you've added other clothes, skirts, you can use different textiles, netting. Cheryl, these are gorgeous, and I really do feel like I could make something like this. Thank you.
Thank you.